And this is a comparison for foreign value added in Indonesia export. The foreign value added Indonesia export is only 12%. It is quite low compared to another country like Singapore, India, Philippines. Our foreign value added is far behind our neighboring countries. Move on to the next session. This section we will discuss about how is the effect for digital technology. For small firms, Internet has increased access to international markets. WTO find that on average 97% small business because of Internet they can do the export. Internet access can reduce barrier and cost to trade for all firms through online sales and e-commerce. When we talk about Industry 4.0, we know that there is some new technology like Internet of Things, Big Data Analytics, 3D printing, smart sensor, augmented reality, AI, or artificial intelligence. I think you also know it about some technology that are trends in this industry. This is some firms that using the technology 4.0. The games. I think most of you also play these games for catching Pokemon. So actually, the Pokemon is not real, of course, but because of the technology of augmented reality, we can catch the Pokemon by using our phone. Besides this game, this is Shopee. So for cosmetic, they develop a technology like we can try the color like foundation, lipstick, whether the color is okay in our face or not. I tried for lipstick like they have a lot of color like red, pink, and a lot of variation in this color, but I can try it whether is it okay or not to my face. Supply chain 4.0 fundamentally it changed the way information flows through the supply chain. In traditional supply chain model, there are several steps like we choose the right supplier for raw materials, and then the supplier send it for the production team, and then we send it to the distributor until it reaches our customer. In this traditional supply chain, if there is a delay in, for example, in the supplier, it will cause a delay in the other process of production. So, for example, if before the development of communication and information technology, like if our supplier is in the remote area, they need to send maybe a letter to tell us what is the problem and how the effect for this problem in the production process, and then maybe it will take around 1 week or 1 month to the production team, depends on the distance from the supplier to the production team. That's why in the traditional supply chain model, once there is a delay in the supplier or in the another steps of production, they will cause a delay until the end of the production process. Supply chain 4.0 can be usefully applied to an integrated supply chain ecosystem in which information flows in all directions. So, if before in the traditional supply chain model, once there is a delay in the steps, it will have a delay until the end of the production process. But in this supply chain model, integrated supply chain model, we can develop, like, for example, a database that can integrate all of the information to the steps in production, like distributor, production team, customer, and supplier. So it's much more easier compared to the traditional supply chain model. The impact of supply chain 4.0 on workers. We know that development of technology, they can change the job of humans. So some people are quite worried, like, for example, how the robots will take your job and kill the economy. Automation, it could kill 73 million US jobs by 10 decades from now. Job loss from AI, there is more to fear. Jobs involving in physical labor, data collection, that are the most vulnerable during the shift to Industry 4.0. But actually, we can see by the history, by the development of personal computer or PC, between 1980 until 2015, the introduction of PC, it replaced 3.5 million jobs in the US, but it also created 19.2 million new jobs. So I also checked what is the best job in the next decade. And from Business Insider, I found that the first best job in the next decade is software developer. So people who has knowledge about technology, they can have the best salary in the next decade, followed by registered nurse, general and operation manager, financial manager, and the other. We already see how is the impact of supply chain 4.0 on workers. By the developing of technology, firms can reduce the number of states in supply chain. By reshoring routine labor-intensive activities in developing countries back to developed country, they can reduce the amount of labor required. For example, like Adidas. Right now they have 3D printing technology, and by using this technology, they only need to hire 10 people to make the production process doing well. So they don't need to hire a lot of people again to do the process. The new digital technology are driving a revolution in the way firms are shaping the organization of their production process. This form of innovation, it can slow the growth of global value chain and increase the importance of skill development. So the job like administration, it can be changed by a machine. That's why right now in this era, we need to develop our skill to be able to work by technology. On the other hand, the development in technology such as Internet of Things, big data, it can strengthen the current structure of global value chain by reducing the cost of tracking and monitoring the component of production. So, like what I said before, we can use a database to integrate the information so it can make the production process become faster. The degree of adoption and diffusion of supply chain 4.0 is likely to differ across both firms and country. Countries that have a higher internet penetration, greater digital entrepreneur skill, they are likely to have advantage in adapting supply chain 4.0 methods. After we see the digital effect to global value chain, right now we see how has the pandemic affected firms in developing countries that are engaged in global value chain. COVID-19 has delivered the biggest and broadest value chain shock in recent memory. In Ethiopia, there is a fall in consumer demand for clothing and closure of retail stores. In Vietnam, electronics value chain have been impacted by lockdown of overseas supplier and disruption to logistic service. Indonesia also have lockdown that it also affected how the firms operate their business. Besides, we also have some country that they are doing export bans and restriction on critical goods. Because of this restriction, firms they need to adapt to the new normal situation. They need to develop a more flexible and agile production network, accelerating ongoing trends of reorganization global value chain. For many enterprises, the pandemic has made it clear that it can be helpful to move the various components of their business closer to one another. So instead of having a far away supplier, we can start to developing by looking for supplier from domestic maybe, so we can have a more sustainable and resilient production network. The pandemic may also encourage local firms to adopt new technology and upgrade their business model. Since because of lockdown, a lot of firms they cannot open their business, right? So it also encourages the digitalization and the use of online platform. So there is also some benefit because of the COVID-19. Okay, so that's for the material for today's. I hope that you enjoy the material for today. Okay, thank you and see you